Hey guys, welcome to this demo. Notice I put the video over here so that we're no longer in the layers palette region, so we moved it over to this side. Today we're going to be getting into modifying an image of Times Square, so timesquare.jpg. You can download that, and we're going to be using Photoshop's Generative Fill to add 20 items to the photograph. Those could be actual places. They could also be objects, so it could be a thing. And I want you to also pick some kind of theme. So if you could do a genre like Western, sci-fi, horror, mystery, action. If you could direct the composition towards a particular genre, like a movie genre, then we can have something to kind of like talk about, like placing objects in such a way to tell a story. So what we're going to do is we're just going to launch this Times Square JPEG. I've already got it right here, so I'm just going to click on it. For those that have downloaded it, just go File, Open, and then search for that file. So here we go. Again, notice in the lower right-hand corner, this is your layers palette. If you want to modify your layer for some reason, you can always click on the lock icon, and that will unlock it. If you want to lock it again, the little lock icon is right there. To make things safe too, if for some reason you end up messing up your photo, you can always click and drag that layer. So click and hold and drag it down to this little plus icon here, which will create a new layer. When you drag it over it, it actually makes a copy of that layer up above. So layer 0 copy, you can see that one right there. Pretty simple when we're actually doing this in Photoshop. We're going to end up using our selection tools. So we've got our rectangular marquee tool. If you click and hold, you can also see the elliptical marquee tool. So it's either selecting in rectangles or circles. And then to the left here, you can see we've got our polygonal lasso tool, we've got our standard lasso, and we've got our magnetic lasso tool. These will be the tools that I just want to introduce today with regards to selecting. To do the generative fill, the first step is to select an area. So number one, select an area. And then number two, you're going to type in words, and it's going to spit out some kind of image. Always comes in threes, so you get three choices based off of whatever the computer comes up with. Again, I like to describe this as playing reverse Pictionary with a supercomputer. So in Pictionary, the person who is drawing the pictures has the words already, and so they end up trying to draw the picture and you guess the words. In this way, it's reverse Pictionary, where like you're going to write the words and then the AI is going to generate an image based off your words. So typically, the better you describe it, the better the image that will come out. And we'll see a few things that you can actually do within that. So the first thing I'll do is I'll just take the rectangular marquee tool, and I'm going to zoom in on this part of the image, and I'm just going to do a rectangular marquee tool over this little post that's sticking in the ground here. And you'll notice that once it's actually selected, this little text box will generate. If it's not, please ask me for help. It may be that you have settings within your computer that need to be updated. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to type in trash can. Maybe I could even just say like spilling trash can. And then hit enter. And so we'll see what ends up happening. I'm guessing it's going to target trash can. It may not actually get the image of spilling, but we'll see what the AI generates. You can see the progress bar as it goes. This is a good time to, like, I don't know, look around, kind of think about what ideas you can come up with. So here's spilling trash can. We can see we've got version number 1. If I hit it again, this little arrow, the next variation, you can see version number 2. And then there's version number 3. If it's a little bit too bright or you don't like how it actually looks, you can just say like gray, dark gray. So here we're actually like modifying it. Hit enter. We can see if this actually improves the results or not. But you can see again to the right in your layers palette, you can see spilling trash can is a new layer, and there's the image, and then there's a little black square off to the right, and that's referred to as a layer mask. So now you can see 1 out of 6, so I've got 6 different versions here. There's a golden trash can. And I'm just going to say like maybe this one's a nice trash can. And then I'll just say, okay, cool. Awesome. I've got a trash can there. So that's using my rectangular marquee tool to select something. If for some reason, like you've got a circle that you want to replace, so up here I've got a circular object, I'll get my elliptical marquee tool. And if I use Shift and Alt, just like in Illustrator, it'll scale the circle from the center. And that way I can actually like select the circular object there. And let's see, like let's just put an I in here, EYEBALL. So eyeball blue. Again, using the selection tool that makes the most sense for what you're selecting is kind of the name of the game. So because this is a circular clock up at the top of a building, using that elliptical tool seems to be the best one. So there's number 1. That's kind of cool. It's not an eyeball. That's kind of wild too. So I'm just going to select this one and just say like, cool. Things that you'll notice is that the AI basically looks at the pixels that are around there, and then it uses that to actually paint its own version of something to fit there. If I toggle off those layers, you can actually see like what the AI actually generated there. And again, it kind of blends it into the background image. Now, just as you can like target locations of things and replace them, you can also apply this globally to a large portion of the image. So I'm going to use my polygonal lasso tool. The thing you'll notice about this tool is that you can actually click around to define the area that you want to select. So I'm going to click once, click twice, and you can see it's actually like following the contour of these buildings. So say for some reason I wanted to maintain the road and the sky, but I wanted to get rid of all those buildings. I can use the polygonal lasso tool to just like click around to select those pieces. So here I'm just going to say like grassy field with cows grazing. And if you don't spell things right, the AI is going to generate based off a guess. If words are not spelt correctly, then it tends to just kind of like spit out things that look like what's in there. So we'll see what ends up happening here. Again, it's a lot like just like rolling the dice and seeing what 3 options pop up. So here's option number 1. You can see there's more greenery in there. This one gets more trees, which is pretty impressive, like a slope of grass with trees. And here you can see the element of a cow coming in there. So I'm going to try that one again. Let's say forest of pine trees with deer and birds. Again, realize that I'm making a selection of just the buildings and the block. To the left side of the screen here. Some of the solutions won't look good, and so it's up to you as the designer to actually choose the images that look best. So I don't know, that looks pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and move forward with that. Then let's say like, what if I want to add a deer in here? I'm going to use my polygonal lasso tool. I'm just going to select an area here, and then I'll just put like, I don't know, white tail deer. The more specific you are, the better the results will be. When you save this file, I want you to make a comment in the comment sections with the assignment, and tell me all the things that you actually submitted or changed within that. So here's my white-tailed deer. Here's version number 2. Here's version number 3. You'll notice again, like the AI may struggle with certain aspects. Like this kind of gets into like more like, I don't know, caribou or like moose antlers. But we could say like something like that's not too bad. Let's see. Last thing I'll say as well is like, say you don't like this bird in here, you can click around to select it. And in the Generative Fill text field, you can also just hit remove. And the AI will just pick something to kind of like fill in that spot. In this case, it's pretty easy. It's just going to fill it with like white sky. So there you go. Where it gets a little bit more technical is like, say like you want to remove this car here. This is where using the AI remove command I think is a much more effective use of that. Within this project, again, we're gonna have 20, so 20 items that I want you to change. I want you to think creatively about where you're placing them, and then also indicate a genre. So sci-fi, action, comedy, or western. So don't just like place a bunch of images. I want you to kind of gear it towards a specific genre. At the end, we'll be talking about like when you finally save, you could either do a screen capture, so window, print screen, to capture the whole screen zoomed out. So do that and submit that, and then also go File, and then Save As. And then when you save, you can always save it as a .psd file. That's a Photoshop native file. So if you ever want to like save all the layers and be able to edit again, that's a good way to actually save it. So default setup is PSD. The secondary version would be a .tif, a TIFF. Both of those file formats tend to be very large because they save all of the different layers in your layers palette, which means that you can actually edit it later, which is a really good thing to do. So Photoshop PSD and then hit save. Thanks for joining me for this lesson. Again, learning your selection tools will be very helpful for this. And then being specific with your language when you do that generative text prompt. The more descriptive you are, the better the results. Thanks, guys.